it's up to us, then maybe we can't do it. But if we let Krishna work, then we can do something like Prabhupada says beyond imagination. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, titled Hiranyakashipu Terrorizes the Universe. Texts 31-32. Ramanya, Shila, Sampana, Satyasando, Jitendriya, Atmavat, Sarvabhutana, Eka, Priya, Suritama, Dasavat, Sanatayangri, Vitrivad, Dina, Vatsala, Vitrivat, Sadrishe, Snigdo, Gurushu, Ishvara, Bhavana, Vijata, Rupa, Janmadyo, Stamba, Varjita, Brahmanya Shila Sampana, Satyasando Jitendriya, Atmavat Sarvabhutana, Ekapriya Suritama, Dasavat Sanatayangri, Trivadina Vatsala, Trivat Sadrishe Snigdo, Vishveshvara Bhavana, Jatarupa Janmadyo, Manastamba Vivajita, Ramanya Shila Sampana, Satyasando Jitendriya, Atmavat Sarvabhutana, Ekapriya Suritma, Dasavat Sanatayangri, Trivadina Vatsala, Ratrivat Sadisheshnido, Rishishvara Bhavana, Jatarupa Janmadyo, Manastamba Vivajita, Brahmanya Shila Sampana, Satyasando Jitendriya, Atmavat Sarvabhutana, Ekapriya Suritma, Dasavat Sanatayangri, Vittavadina Vatsala, Vitrivat Sadisheshnido, Guruveshvara Bhavana, Vijata Rupa Janmadyo, Manastamba Vivajita, Ramanya Shila Sampana, Satyasando Jitendriya, Atmavat Sarvabhutana, Ekapriya Suritma, Dasavat Santarayangri, Vitivadina Vatsala, Vidvat Sviteshusniko, Guruveshvara Bhavana, Vijata Rupa Janmadyo,
Manastamma vivajita. Brahmanya.
Culture as a good Brahmin.
Culture as a good Brahman.
Shila Sankana.
Shila Sankara.
Possessing all good qualities.
Possessing all good qualities.
Satya Sanda.
Satyasanda.
Determined to understand the absolute truth.
Determined to understand the absolute truth.
Jita Indriya.
Jita Indriya.
Fully controlling the senses and mind.
Fully controlling the senses and mind.
Atmavat.
Atmavat.
Like the super soul.
Like a super soul.
Sarvabhutanam.
Sarvabhutanam.
All the entities.
All the entities.
Ekapriya.
Ekapriya.
The one beloved.
The one beloved.
Surittama.
Surittama.
Best friend.
The best friend.
Dasavat.
Sasavat.
Communion servant.
Communal servant.
Sanata.
Sanata.
Always obedient.
Always feeding.
Very hungry.
Very hungry.
At the lotus feet of great persons.
And the lotus feet of great persons.
Pitrivat.
Pitrivat.
Exactly like a father.
Exactly like Father.
Dinavatsala.
Dinavatsala.
Kind to the poor.
Kind to the poor.
Bhratrivat.
Bhratrivat.
Exactly like a brother.
Exactly like a brother.
Sadvishe.
Sadvishe.
His equals. Sunda.
Sunda.
Very affectionate.
Very affectionate.
Gurushu.
Gurushu.
His spiritual masters. Ishvarabhavana.
Ishvarabhavana.
Exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Consider exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Vidya. Education.
Education.
Artha. Riches. Rupa. Beauty. Janma. Aristocracy or nobility. Adya. Endowed with Prana. Pride. Stamba. Impudence. Vivarjita. Free from. Translation. What is marriage Prana? The son of Hiranyakashipu, illustrated here with, he was completely cultured as a qualified Brahmin, having very good character and being determined to understand the absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the super soul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a menial servant. To the poor, he was like a father. To his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother. And he considered his teachers, spiritual masters, and older brothers to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. Let's repeat the qualities of Maharaj Prahlad, the son of Hiranyakashipu, are described here with. He was completely cultured. As a qualified Brahmin. Having very good character. And being determined to understand the absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the super soul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a new servant. To the poor, he was like a father. To his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother. And he considered his teachers, spiritual masters, and older brothers to be as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. These are some of the qualifications of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is automatically a Brahmin because the Vaishnava has all the good qualities of a Brahmin. Samadhamastapa Shocham Shantir Bharajavam Evcha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahmakarma Subhavam Jam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. These are the qualities by which the Brahmins work. 1842. These qualities are manifest in the body of a Vaishnava. Therefore, a perfect Vaishnava is also a perfect Brahmin, as indicated here by the word Brahmanya Shiva Sampana. The Vaishnava is always determined to understand the absolute truth, and to understand the absolute truth, one needs to have full control over his senses and mind. Prahlad Maharaj possessed all these qualities. Vaishnava is always a well-worshipped to everyone. The six Goswamis, for example, are described in this way. Dira Janapriyo. They were popular with both the gentle and the ruffians. A Vaishnava must be equal to everyone, regardless of one's position. At Mavat, a Vaishnava, or a Vaishnavi, should be like Paramatma. Ishvara Sarabhutanam Purdeshir Junatishtati. Paramatma does not hate anyone. Indeed, he is in the heart of a Brahmin, but he is also even in the heart of a pig. As the moon never refuses to distribute its pleasing rays even to the home of Chandala, Vaishnava never refuses to act for everyone's welfare. Therefore, a Vaishnava is always obedient to the spiritual master, Arya. The word Arya refers to one who is advanced in knowledge. One who is deficient in knowledge cannot be called Arya. At the present, however, the word Arya is used to refer to those who are godless. This is the unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. The word Guru refers to the spiritual master who initiates his disciple into advancement in the science of Krishna consciousness. As stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sri Bhagavan Mantra Pradesheke Guru Ityatadam. Amagantamantasya Yanajanasla Chakshurmatamya Bhagavashidurvima Kankuroti Vachilam Vanamagadeviram Hapipatamamate Shurvimitaranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sasyur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. The qualities of Maharaj Prahlad, the son of Hiranyakashipu, are described here with: he was completely cultured as a qualified Brahmin, having very good character and being determined to understand absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the super soul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a communal servant. To the poor, he was like a father, and to his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother. And he considered his teachers, the spiritual masters, and the older brothers to be as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. So it's interesting, here we can derive many good lessons and good pointers. So to be like the super soul, in other words, to be kind to every living entity, then we must have this culture of good character and our determination to understand the absolute truth that must be manifest and in our behavior, in our activities. So, for example, someone who's determined to understand the absolute truth, then they wouldn't engage in certain things which are detrimental for our devotional service. Can anyone remember from that type of instruction some of those things which are detrimental to our devotional service? Jananda, do you remember?
Not sure. Says that. You mean for
I'm not sure what you're saying. What we're saying is that there are some things which are detrimental to us advancing in devotional service, and they're listed in the nectar of instruction as one of them, if anybody remembers any of those.
We'll read more, which is not required.
Yes, so that's called Tyahara, isn't it? Is that right? I forget some terms.
Unnecessary endeavor for things which are very difficult to achieve.
Sometimes we make a great endeavour, but if Krishna is not willing for it to happen and we keep on trying to make it happen, then we may have to question our own motives. Am I doing it for Krishna? Am I doing it for more glory? And that's a question we also have to ask ourselves often. So, am I cooking this nicely for the pleasure of the devotees, or is it for my pleasure in the hope that they'll say, oh, you're so brilliant cook. You're such a nice pujari, you're such a big sanctum devotee. You do everything, whatever it is we're doing, we're hoping that someone's going to say, oh, you're so good. And of course, we do like to get some appreciation because that gives us some kind of confidence that we're doing things right. Sometimes the spiritual master will say, why are you doing this? You're a nonsense. And you think, I thought you liked me. So the relationship between the spiritual master and disciple is not a sentimental one. Sometimes the spiritual master doesn't say too much to the disciple because he knows that the disciple may not be able to take it. If the spiritual master instructs the disciple and don't follow, then it becomes guru avagya, which means disobedient to the spiritual master. So sometimes the spiritual master would tell a disciple to do something which they think is beyond them. So that means when they do ask us to do something, that means they think it's not beyond us. And of course, the faith of the spiritual master is greater than our faith, isn't it? So we might not be able to engage ourselves according to our level of faith, but if we have faith in the spiritual master and we have faith in his words, then we can engage according to his direction and according to his level of faith. Yet also there's some other things which are detrimental for our devotional service, Prabhupada.
So shouting when mundane
So
people,
Prabhupada means what?
nonsense talk.
Unnecessary, inconsequential talk. It means gossip, right? Talk which comes to nothing. The amagraha, is that the one which is too much endeavour for mundane difficult things?
It's following the rules and regulations.
Without understanding.
Understanding.
So that's without understanding the purpose of the scriptures, then we either become too attached and we fanatically follow things. And this is very dangerous because sometimes we become judgmental on other people if we are just fanatically following things. And that's not good. Even if somebody is doing something wrong, if we become like the judge on them, then our judgmentalism is actually worse than the thing that they're doing. That's even less pleasing. It's not our service to do that. One time, one devotee was taking the trouble to correct some other devotees, and Prabhupada says, this is the work of the spiritual master or his representative. Why you want to do such nasty work? So the spiritual master, he doesn't enjoy chastising the disciples, but it's necessary. Just like the parent, they don't necessarily enjoy chastising or restricting the children, but they know they have to do it for their own good, otherwise they're going to grow wild. And then what happens when they're wild and they do some major thing wrong, then it's all due to the upbringing. And similarly, sometimes you see a disciple acts very nicely, someone who you see, oh, who's your spiritual master? Or sometimes you see a devotee acting like a rascal and say, oh, who's your spiritual master? Yeah, so there's Pujapa means nonsense talk. It doesn't have anything in relation to advancing in spiritual life. And being too attached to or too neglectful of the rules and regulations. We see actually these are different sides of the same coin. When I've experienced someone who's very attached to following everything very staunchly, but they have very little tolerance towards anyone who is struggling, trying to follow to the same degree that they could. And then in due course of time, that person went the other way, where they became so liberal that everybody was out of it. They were out of it if they didn't follow as strict as that person. And then they were out of it if they weren't as liberal as that person. So such pride doesn't help one advance in spiritual life. So therefore, that's why it's also mentioned here, that to be determined to understand the absolute truth. So there are many different rules and regulations, and may not understand why they're there. So therefore, to understand the scriptural rules and regulations and the purpose behind them, then it's easy to tolerate. Because if someone just like Prahlad Maharaj here, he was kind to the poor, he was like a father. So if father is very tolerant out of love, then they tolerate so much. Sometimes they may correct, but it's also done out of love. So this should be our position as well. If we think that someone is less than us, of course a devotee often looks to everybody as being a better devotee than them. And that can't just be some kind of artificial, superficial, rubber stamp type version that, oh, everybody's better than me. Because that can also be quite tricky. It can be like, oh man, you must be the best devotee then. If everyone's better than you must be the humblest of all. Yes, I'm so proud of my humility. I'm the most humble. Like there was, Prabhupada gave one disciple a lesson. This devotee approached him and said, oh, I'm your most fallen disciple. And Prabhupada said, you're the most nothing. He said, you're insignificant. So Prabhupada wanted to take that pride away from the devotee that don't think they're the most of anything. You know, it's just some kind of subtle call for attention that we've got to be the best, even being the best at being the worst. We've just got to put ourselves up there as something distinct. This is called subtle sex life. Fame, distinction, adoration, and gain. So Prabhupada was very kind there, and he says, you're most nothing, you're insignificant. And this is not an insult. This is a reminder that we are insignificant, but still, in Krishna's eyes, we're all significant. Everybody is significant. So we shouldn't think that we're more significant than someone else. That's such a folly. And that foolishness is pride. It will come to a case, we'll come to a point where we will have to address that, or something will happen which will reduce our pride. And so the other points of that verse, 6 points.
One of them is association with non-devotees. Is one of them.
Asat Sangha.
Asat.
Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya, he says, Asat Sangha Tyag, we should give up the association of non-devotees. So that doesn't just mean that we just stop going to the pub, or we stop going to the cinema, stop going out with all our buddies. It may also mean that we don't do certain things with the social media, with YouTube, things like that, various other ways where we associate with materialists. We give up that association. They shouldn't have any bearing on life, they have no authority. Nowadays you see social media, so many people become self-appointed authorities. They just say something because they've got some followers. People don't have any idea what's right or wrong. They just think, oh, such and such said it, so it must be true. Or just like recently we had this Elon Musk. He seems to think that he's got a right to say something about the way the world should go because he's got a lot of money. That doesn't qualify. Just because someone has managed to be a good businessman and make a product which a lot of money comes your way, then you don't get to say the way humanity, the way civilization is going to go. And unless you have knowledge, then Guru Nasasyat, Pita Nasasyat, one shouldn't become a spiritual master, mother, father, etc., unless they can deliver the dependence. So if someone assumes that role of the real wisher of everybody, then they have to have the knowledge to give to the people so it can be the real well wisher. Not just like, okay, we've messed up this planet, let's move everybody to Mars. Because they've got loads of money, they'll make loads of spacecrafts to get a few select people who can afford it up there. Or we'll just make loads of electric cars. It's such a short-sighted thing where we're still using finite resources. It's not really good, the problem's not sustainable. So the real knowledge is in the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. And this is the knowledge which comes with this material universe. Just like when a manufacturer creates something, then they give an instruction book with it. When Krishna creates something through Lord Brahman, instructions are there in the form of the Vedas. And people can deny that for as long as they like, but only until they come to the point of accepting that, then will the extra find some peace and meaning in life. So this word also in the the Upadeshamrita, there were 6 points. So giving up association with materialistic persons. What was another one?
When we read more,
Ajihara, to accumulate more wealth than required. So that means that unless we can use it in Christian service, just like sometimes we have almost no flowers, now we've got so many flowers we don't know what to do with them. But if we know what to do with them, then there's no question of accumulating too much. If someone says, oh, you've got too much money in the temple bank account, you should stop collecting, and it just means we're not using it properly. Prabhupada said, if you give me $1 million in the morning, I'll have it spent by the afternoon. So we don't have to worry about over-accumulating as long as we use it in Christian service. If we over-accumulate and we don't do anything with it in Christian service, then it's a problem. And we can start to think, well, this is mine, or we try to make some plan with it, or become like a miser holding on to it. So when things come into our possession, we use it in Christian service. We often found, or we always found, that when we go on Sankirtan, we give out books, and the Lakshmi just comes. Because when Narayan is there, the book is Narayan, Krishna's words, and Lakshmi is there. And I'm just reading last night, actually, Prabhupada said that if we base our finances on book distribution, then we can never have any worry with finances. Historically, with Prabhupada, this was our case because of so much emphasis on distributing Sri Prabhupada's books, and we never lacked. So, was there any other points? There was one more, I think, from the next instruction. Was there one? I thought you were looking at them.
I am looking at the verse, I'm trying to look at the translation. Ajihara Piyasascha, Piyasas,
And Sangha Chalogam Cha.
Japavya Bhagaha Vina Sangas Chaludam Cha, Satyabhakti Vinashati. Overeating or collecting too much, overdowering, idle thought, too much attachment to rules and regulations and neglect of association with well-minded people, and adherent longing or greed.
What was that last one?
Adherent longing or greed. Young.
Yes.
Being greedy for mundane achievements.
Yes, for mundane things we have to achieve. Yeah, so we should be careful not to use Krishna consciousness to be some kind of, to achieve some mundane thing. When we come, we may have some material motivation or some material inebriety, but we should be careful not just to keep feeding that. The idea is to diminish that and feed the devotional spirit. Yeah, otherwise, we have a great gift in front of us and we're not taking proper advantage of it. So there's, in order to be on that platform of being kind to a living entity, then we have to be respectful. All these things go hand in hand. So, and this is also given in the nectar of instruction, how to associate with devotees in 3 different ways. To seniors, then we offer great respect. To equals, then we are their friend. And to those who are less fortunate than us, then we try to bring some good fortune into their life, try to be kind to them. So this word, Bhratrivat, exactly like a brother, Bhratri. You can see this word brother is coming from the Sanskrit Bhratra. So just like an older brother who's compassionate to the younger brother, they're always looking after them to protect them and to be kind to them. Sympathetic here, it says attached like a sympathetic brother. and consider his teachers, spiritual masters, and holy godbrothers to his goodness, supreme person of the Godhead. So, having these qualities, he was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education. So interesting, Prabhupada uses the word unnatural pride. So would that mean that natural pride may also be there? What would be a good pride? What would be a good pride? What is a devotee allowed to be proud of?
It's a devotee of Krishna.
Yeah. Nothing else. You can be proud of a spiritual master. You can be proud of the Guru Parampara. If one comes in a family of great devotees, like we do, we have a spiritual family, and our lineage is the Guru Parampara, we can be proud of them. We can stand up for them, we can stand by them, we can stand behind them. And we can be proud of Krishna. If we're not proud of ourselves, when it comes to ourselves, then we only have to think a little bit of how much of a rascal we have been or can be, and then we don't have to be very proud. I can remember one devotee was saying that sometimes it could help us to be more attentive in japa. Said that if we had some kind of apparatus which would project your mind onto a screen during japa, or you're chanting your japa, and the devotees were all seeing it, how much more attentive would we be? We're sitting going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Radha, Rama. But if we really listen to it, or we just let the mind wander somewhere else and think, okay, I just have to keep the tongue going for a couple of hours, and then that's that done. And be back, it's locked away for another day. So if we adopt that mentality, try to be attentive to japa, whenever the mind wanders, just keep bringing it back. And simply our goal should be to hear the holy name without any interference. If there's interference, that means we have to refocus it again and again and again. And by that constant practice and becoming detached from what the mind is coming up with, then success will be there. And then we'll be wondering, why didn't I do this sooner? When we get a taste for chanting, we think, wow, why did I avoid it for so long? The mind's been telling me that it's something else, something else. So many times people are about to join the temple, but then there's always something gets in the way. They've got nothing to do for the last 6 months, they've not done anything, not done a day's work. Never did anything with the social life or anything, but as soon as a chance comes to join the temple, suddenly they become busy. This is man's trick. And even as devotees, we waste so much time. Then someone asks to do something, oh, I've got something to do. Yeah. So Prabhupada was very emphatic about not wasting time. If we utilize our time properly in Krishna consciousness, then we also come to this level of Prabhupada, very advanced devotion service. And we can also get the same benediction that not only ourselves, but our generations before and after, 14. I think it was 14 generations. The Lord will sing again if He gives that blessing, that they will be liberated also. So one who's a perfect Vaishnava is also a perfect Brahman. Because the Brahman qualities of Vaishnava, one who is a proper Vaishnava, he has all good qualities of a Brahman. But he's not restricted simply to act like a Brahman. We give an example. Srila Prabhupada, topmost Vaishnava, and Paramahamsa, Parivrajaka means. Does anybody not know what Parivrajaka means? Don't know what it means. So we say every day, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa. What does Paramahamsa mean?
Swan like.
Swan like. Swan like. Supreme Swan like. Parivrajaka means one who travels all over the world. So Pari, Parikram, Acharya, he's traveling all over the world and he's preaching Krishna consciousness, And he's set an example by his own personal behaviour. So Prabhupada, he was demonstrating such qualities. He's wherever he goes, he's creating places of pilgrimage, but still, one time went back to that manor, he's seen the devotees cleaning the steps coming from downstairs down towards the temple, and he instructed them, they usually sound like mop, and he says, get 2 buckets of water, 1 bucket of hot soapy water, and 1 bucket of cold clean water, and 2 cloths. So he cleaned it all with the soapy water, and then he rinsed it all with the clean water. He was down on his own hands and knees, and all the devotees were watching. So this is like world leader of the Vaishnavas. And he's not simply just a Brahmin. Brahmin, someone who's strictly Brahmin wouldn't do such things. But Prabhupada, as a Vaishnava and as a Acharya, and he takes it upon his responsibility to show the devotees how to do these things. So it's not that the devotees should stand up and think, oh, that's good, Prabhupada's cleaning the stairs today, we'll put him on the service rota for tomorrow as well. So when devotees are shown by example, we should think, oh, that's very good, they're cleaning the toilets. We should think, why are you doing that? Let me do that. Or find someone else to do it. But the devotees will do it because they see that the needful needs to be done. They'll do it because it needs to be done, or they'll do it to show. And we shouldn't be casual and being attentive to doing things properly, because Krishna is in the heart, he's in the atom, and he sees whatever we're doing. There was one time, I don't know if I joined or I was just visiting, but it was very early days. I visited Chaitanya College. I think I might have just become a bhakta. And I was asked to clean the temple. And I was very tired. And in the temple room, it was a big temple room, it was a church. Panchatattva and Jagannath Baladev Subhadra on the altar. And most churches, they have a balcony. So I was thinking, I could clean the temple pretty quick. I've been given 2 hours to do it, but I could clean pretty quick. I'm tired, so what I'll do is I'll go onto the balcony and I'll have a little nap. I'll have a snooze. I knew I wasn't supposed to do that. I'd already been told you shouldn't sleep in front of the deities. You shouldn't do that. It's an offence to sleep in front of the deities. And the supreme person of Godhead is standing in front of us and you're thinking, I can't be bothered, I'll just Krishna. Also, the time of death, they shout, Krishna, I said, no, I can't be bothered. If you can't bother with Krishna, how would you be going to bother with us? So anyway, the devotee who was behind the altar doing some service, he was playing a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, and he was playing throughout the temple, and just as I got myself comfortable, got a few mats and I was ready to crash out, part of the lecture there, Prabhupada said, "You rascal!" And I thought, wow. I just felt like Prabhupada was talking to me directly, and I woke up. I didn't even get that far, my eyes practically just about to shut, and I realised, I've been told here. So I never tried to do such a thing again. So that's Krishna's mercy. Just at that timing, when I was just about to become a rascal. I was being a rascal, my intention was to be a rascal, and Prabhupada called me out on it. Whether that was there or not, but Krishna as a super soul will arrange these things. And if we want to learn from it, then we'll learn from it, but if we want to hold on to our rascaldom, then that's very difficult because we may become offensive then. Someone who's a well-wisher tries to instruct us and we take exception to that, then that person may withdraw their mercy. And then what do we have? If the Vaishnavas were merciful to the fallen conditioned souls, stop being merciful to us, then that good fortune, we lose it. And Prabhupada told his disciples, don't forget, I'm your good fortune. He's telling them that not out of his pride, but to protect them from their pride. So that they didn't think, oh, look at me, I know so many slokas, I'm such a great pujari, I'm such a great book distributor, I'm such a great cook. Nobody cleans a temple like me. Yeah, you're terrible. So this pride is, even taught most devotees, Lord Krishna, he likes to protect his devotees from being proud, even if they think, Lord Krishna is only with me, I must be special, then Krishna abandoned them. even the topmost devotees, Krishna walk away to protect them from the pride. And Krishna is instructing us all like this, is that don't think that you can just take shelter in this pride, that everybody is dear to him, all the living entities, all the jivas, all the eternal liberated souls, they're all dear to Krishna. So we should therefore be kind to people, and if they're struggling, we can be kind to them. And if we can't be kind to them, at least don't be unkind. So we'll just stop there if anyone's got any questions.
Yeah, you know, the verse that Prabhupada quote and referred to that Vaishnavas automatically Brahmana. We see that the qualities of the Brahmanas are very high, like Samodama, Satavasuchan. So doesn't mean that how do we, is that Vaishnava with capital letters? Because not every Vaishnava got that qualities of the Brahmanas. So we can see that practical experience. So it doesn't refer to like automatically Vaishnava, that automatically got the qualities of the Brahmana, or how do we understand that?
Yeah, good question, thank you. So what Prabhupada says here is a perfect Vaishnava is a perfect Brahman. So you may get that, you can also do it from that, that perhaps you don't get perfect Vaishnavas and perhaps you don't get perfect Brahmins as well. Like some Brahmins are maybe not as pucker as other Brahmins. Some Brahmins may be a bit lazy. So a perfect Vaishnava is a perfect Brahmin. So one is a perfect Vaishnava, they have all the good qualities of the Brahmin and more, because it's all in relation to Krishna. We've seen in the story of the Brahmins and the wives in Vrindavan, where Krishna and his cowboy were hungry and they were out playing tending the calves. And they approached the Brahmins, we're hungry, can you feed us? And they said, no, we're busy doing puja. So they didn't realize the person that they were trying to please with puja was standing in front of them. But the wives of the Brahmins, they served the Lord and sat silent. So although they were Brahmins, they were able to recognize the Lord, the Vaishnava would. And sometimes even great devotees don't recognize the Lord until later. Like, was it Madhavendra Puri? Oh no, it was Bhagavatam Thakur. He was, I think he was at Kusum Sarovar, and he was fasting, and one little boy came over to him with some pot of milk and said, my mother sent me to you with this because nobody fasts in our village. Is that Bhagavatam Thakur or was it Madhavendra Puri?
Yeah, I remember when it was the one who said no one fasts. Bhagavatam Thakur also.
Was that second one?
Bhagavatam Thakur. He was also given milk. And
Yeah, so whoever it was, and Krishna said, no one fasts in my village. So we didn't realize it was Krishna until he went away. And then we realized he just said Krishna. But also Bhagavatam Thakur was another similar one where he was interacting with Krishna, but by this time he blinded himself, right? Because he was so attached to the prostitute Chaitanya. No, he wanted to enjoy another man's wife. And then he took the lady's hairpin and said, give me your hairpin. And he blinded himself because he was so disgusted with himself for lusting after another man's wife. So he became blinded. So he was such a great devotee that he made that resolute action to never look upon someone lustily again. But Krishna appeared to him in Vrindavan, and he tried to catch Krishna. And but when he realized who it was that was coming to him, then he tried to capture him. Krishna ran away. He says, you can run away, but you can't run away from my heart. So this is the reward of continual focus on the Lord. Focus on the Lord means trying to do our service with determination, like what's his name, that we were reading earlier on. Vaisheshika Guru. He was talking about commitment. When we make some commitment, then the Lord also commits to helping us. He was given that story of the mountaineer who committed to climbing Everest, and so many things came his way which he would never be able to ride himself, simply because he made a determined commitment. So if we make some determined commitment to serve Krishna, despite all difficulties, then so many things will happen there to open the path for us. So I think we can stop there, unless there's any final question. Yes.
We are kind to ourselves by engaging ourselves in Krishna service. How do we engage other people? How do we kind to other followers?
To engage them as well. And we can engage them in a number of different ways. Sometimes if people are hard to engage, or they have a level of faith which is so low that if they knew we were trying to engage, they would resist that. So we give them prasad. We can even find out what kind of food stuff they like, which is offerable. We offer that and we give it to them. So that's one way where we can. So this agyata sukriti is also kindness to the ignorant. Where people are so ignorant that even if they knew what we were doing, they would reject us. Then we have to engage them unknowingly, so they get purified. Just like sometimes the devotees are on book distribution, and somebody doesn't want a book, but they'll give a donation anyway, and they take the donation because we're using Christian service, and they get benefited. And then, after some crude service performed unknowingly, then they become purified enough to become inquisitive and start performing knowingly. Also going out on Harinam Sankirtan, chanting holy names, then that's being kind to the living entities. Doesn't matter whether they agree with it, whether they want it or not, they're getting the holy names. And if we put ourselves through some difficulty by going out on book distribution or any other kind of difficulty in order to preach Krishna consciousness, then that is showing compassion by trying to take Krishna consciousness to those who are ignorant of Krishna. And it's simultaneously attracting the attention of Krishna. That as soon as we take some step in Krishna's name, then Krishna is taking attention. He's giving attention. So, Prabhupada speaks about this in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Stita Dimani. The devotee is always trying to think of new ways to spread Krishna consciousness. We're thinking, how can I engage this person in Krishna service? Even if the person has a pain in the neck, materially, some people can't stand to be with materially, but we have to think, okay, what can I do to benefit them? So this kind of compassion means that it's easier to tolerate them, if we be compassionate to them. If we can also appreciate our good fortune and the dilemma that people are in, especially this time of year, people think they're enjoying or they think they're about to enjoy. But we know different. We think, I was just watching a video of Shiv Ramaraj last night, and he was asking people, the time of Christmas is a time for remembering Jesus Christ, whose most important commandment was, love the Lord God with all thy heart, mind and soul, and love thy neighbour as thyself. He wasn't saying exactly that, but it's a time when so much greed has been cultivated, and so many poor animals have been killed, have been slaughtered. How is that a way to show love for God, by killing animals? So they don't know what love is. They know what lust is, they know what greed is, all these things. If we can find a way to try to engage them, either knowingly or unknowingly, then that's good. And our duty is to make sure that we engage, whatever they give us, we engage in Christian service. Okay, we'll just stop there. Just come with the tea.
Great